I am totally in fact. You know, nuclear had a big setback when they had the problem in Japan. They were all set to go. But new nuclear is really and very, very inexpensive. You look at certain countries like France, not that I want to copy France, and
75%.
But they've got a vast majority of their energy is from nuclear.
Would you eliminate any departments?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, we want to bring education back to Wisconsin, right? So we end Common Core, and Department of Education the Department of Education is massive, and it can be largely eliminated. Now, you maybe want to have a little bit of, tentacles out there and make sure everything, but largely we can eliminate the Department of Education. Department of Environmental, the DEP is killing us environmentally. It's just killing our businesses. That can be state.
We got to take a break.
Okay.
We'll come back. We have much more with Donald Trump, his wife Melania, right after this break, as Hannity continues from the Pats Theater. We're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, on the road. We continue now with 2016 Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump, his wife Melania. All right, so the president was in Cuba doing the wave. And then he did the tango, and that was after he got lectured by Raul Castro. You're the president of the United States. I assume you wouldn't have been in Cuba, but something like Brussels happens. How would you have handled it differently?
Well, by the way, speaking of Cuba, and I'm not saying we shouldn't do something eventually, but we have to do a great deal as opposed to the deal we're doing. But worst, when he landed in Air Force One, and there was nobody to greet him. To me, what can you imagine? And I said, Air Force One has been around for a while. I said, that may be the first time in the history of Air Force One that the president of the United States lands in a country and there's nobody to greet him. So it's a total lack of respect. He should have left immediately. Should have left the baseball game. The wave was not a good thing, especially in light of what we're going through. But he should have left immediately and come back home to Washington, where the president belongs at a time like that.
Let me ask, Obama last week was attacking you that you don't know foreign policy, and I'm thinking, all right, this is the guy that gave $150 billion to the radical Islamic mullahs of Iran.
Who, by the way, and this is interesting, yesterday for the first time he's now saying Iran, not so happy with Iran, he's not so happy with the deal. I've been telling him that for 2 years, it's not going to work out. And it's interesting. Hey, I wrote a book in 2000. I talked about Osama bin Laden in the book 2 years before the World Trade Center got knocked down.
And Brussels.
And then I talked about Brussels recently, and the New York Times put this big story in that Donald Trump, I said, Brussels is a hellhole. Now, I know that because it's a big financial capital, and friends of mine are very much involved with Brussels, and they tell me what's going on. And the New York Times came up, and they wrote a vicious story about me talking so badly about Brussels, and then you had this horrible attack, and now everybody's saying he was right. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
And I'll bring Melania back in here because she wants you to be more presidential. We know every election cycle what the Democratic playbook is going to be. It's going to be that if you're the nominee, you're racist, you're sexist, war on women, you want dirty air and water and throw Granny over the cliff. So the question is, first of all, do you have a nickname for Hillary?
Well, I haven't really. I just haven't wanted to give it yet. I sort of do, but I want to knock off the next two people, and then I can focus.
And then you'll
Hillary.
reveal it.
Oh, it's going to be great. But I will say this, and I think a lot of people will confirm it. Nobody has more respect for women than I do. That I can tell you. Nobody.
Melania, when you read these polls, when you see how they're trying to position your husband, that he's anti-woman, and they use different narratives, what are your thoughts? What would you want to say to people as somebody that obviously knows him better than anybody?
I think he's the man. He respects women. He hires the women on the highest positions, and he trusts them. And he's the one that he will take care of them. He's the only one.
back to Hillary. You obviously broke a lot of eggs, to use your analogy, in the Republican primary. And if she's the nominee, assuming she's not wearing an orange jumpsuit and shoes without laces, how do you have to maybe navigate a little differently because she's going to play that gender card?
Well, it seems unfair to have to do so. Probably there will be some of that. It seems unfair. She's playing that card very heavily. Now, she played the card 2 months ago, and the only time I really hit her was 2 months ago, and Bernie got all the credit because she went down, and all of a sudden he started doing well. You know, when I did that 2 months ago, she went way down. I think I'm going to have to take a little credit for what's happening with Bernie because he's won, the last 6 in a row. And I'll tell you, Wisconsin's going to be very interesting. I understand he's leading in Wisconsin. It's going to be an interesting. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I can't say, but I look at what's happening. You take a look at Libya. That was her baby. And a friend of mine who's very well versed in what's going on, Libya had great oil, very, very pure, very beautiful oil. You know who's got that oil now? ISIS. ISIS has that oil. They've taken that oil. So you had Benghazi, you had the ambassador and the others, wonderful people being absolutely and brutally killed. Nobody talks about the viciousness of those killings. They were vicious. And remember the famous phone call when you get the phone? Well, she wasn't there to answer the call. I mean, she wasn't there. So,
without giving away, do you have your strategy?
I do. I have a strategy, but
already in place.
It's too early. I don't even know if she's going to be the nominee yet. It's too early.
I have 1,000 pages of research on her. I haven't. Remember, I was the one out there on Obama warning the country that he was a radical, Reverend Wright, 20 years in that church, GD America, Alinskyite, Acorn, Bill Ayers, Bernardine Dohrn. No one wanted to talk about it.
It says better than anything when he won't use the term radical Islamic terrorism. And you saw what happened yesterday with the French and where he had the words.
They edited it out.
It had to happen. He said it was a technical mistake. This is what I mean. Those 2 words or 3 words were edited out. It was a technical mistake. To think, I mean.
Scary.
No, well, it's a lie. It's purely a lie.
We got to take a break. More with Donald Trump, the Republican frontrunner, and Melania. Right after this break, as Hannity continues from the Pabst Theater, we're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Stay with us. We continue now with 2016 Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump, his wife Melania. Jordan, first-time caller, long-time listener. How are you?
Good. How are you?
You have a question for Mr. Trump?
Yes. Mr. Trump, if you were the current president of the United States, who would you nominate to the Supreme Court and why?
Okay, well, we just lost a great one, and who would have thought this could have happened? And I think it's one of the well, look, defense is always most important, but one of the most important things going on right now is who the justice is going to be, because it could actually be as many as 5. So it's going to change. I would go with a very conservative person. I would go pro-life. I would go with great intellect and somebody that would be like Scalia, worthy of tremendous admiration and respect. So important.
Thank you, Melania, you've watched a lot of interviews with him. Is there one question that you wish that maybe somebody had asked your husband and they haven't asked yet?
I think they did ask him many questions, yes. It doesn't come in.
When you sit at home and you're watching these interviews or watching people attacking him, that's not easy on any family, right?
Well, we know what comes with territory, when you go into that, and you know what's coming up, and we have a thick skin.
Yeah.
I'm explaining to my 10-year-old son, and he understands too. He needs to get thick skin. It's life.
Does it impact
life? Is not a bowl of cherries. So
it's not cotton candy and rainbows. That's my line. Real quick, we have about a minute.
Hi. I'm Ashley Cross, and my question is, with Russia and the USA having a common enemy with ISIS, would you reach out to Russia to make them an ally?
I think it's fine. I took heat from these people that don't get it. When Russia started bombing ISIS, then they said, we should be doing that. These Lindsey Grahams and these characters that don't know what they're doing. They've been fighting. You know, he said, I've been doing this for many years. That's why we keep fighting. We should knock them out quickly. But that's why we're losing, exactly. Yeah. Said very well. The fact is, we have to knock ISIS out so fast. And if Russia, you know, Putin has said very nice things about me. So people said, actually during one of the debates, one of the people said, you should tell him to take that away. I said, I'm not going to take it away. Called me a genius, actually, so it was very nice. But you know what? You know what? If Russia wants to help us, if Russia wants to drop bombs all the hell over ISIS who are cutting people's heads off and drowning people, that's okay with me.
When we come back, we'll continue. More from Milwaukee, Wisconsin with Donald Trump and Melania Trump. Straight ahead. All right, unfortunately, that's all the time we have left this evening. But be sure to tune in tomorrow night, 10 Eastern. Now, the polls close here, 9 Eastern, and we will have full coverage, our regular time, 10 Eastern. Did you all have a good time tonight? I want to thank you, Mr. Trump. It's great to see you. Melania, thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate it. That is all the time we have. Tomorrow night, our regular time, we'll have Wisconsin primary results for all of you. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.